Chapter 306, Tang San versus the Deep Sea Demon Whale King, TL by Bagelson. Watching the changes in midair, Xiaobai was aghast, crying out in alarm. Energy armor form. It seems it wasn't just bragging. It might really be close to the god level. Back when the Lord Sea God became god, he could harmonize his energy with himself, forming divine armor, as well as transform his spirit into the Sea God Trident, turning it into his weapon. Even if this Deep Sea Demon Whale King can't do all that yet, just turning energy into armor without truly harmonizing with it is still really just a step away. Daimobai's expression turned equally serious. After taking human shape, the energy that can't be frozen into the body is compressed into this armor shape and worn, and can still be used to wield its original power. There's practically no downside. It seems Little San will lose. This Deep Sea Demon Whale King is much stronger than we imagined. In midair, Tang San still seemed particularly calm. He could of course come to the same conclusion as Daimobai, only he saw even deeper than Daimobai. After all, he was someone who had once faced a true god level power. The armor formed from the Deep Sea Demon Whale King's energy was admittedly powerful, but there was still a considerable gap to Chen Rinchu's angelic raiment, and the advantage for Tang San was that, no matter how powerful the armor was, in order to draw the power of nature it still had to rely on water. His other lightning attribute was just a secondary attribute, and as the successor to the sea god, what Tang San feared the least was water. Back before completely comprehending the divine power of the god of angels, Chen Rinchu had been beaten back 3 times by Tang San. Why would he retreat against the Deep Sea Demon Whale King? In terms of energy, there was no need to doubt the Deep Sea Demon Whale King's power. The overall intensity of his energy wasn't less than Chen Rinchu, but he was after all not yet a god, and even if his foundation Deep Sea Demon Whale was also a first-rate spirit beast, compared to the Dark Devil God Tiger Tang San once faced, it was actually somewhat inferior in attributes. The Dark Devil God Tiger had a true 3-way balance, and if Tang San faced a million-year level Dark Devil God Tiger, he would turn and run without even thinking about fighting. Moreover, according to Tang San's estimate, the Dark Devil God Tiger wouldn't need to spend that much time if it wanted to become a god. The 8 spider lances slowly stretched out, lance tips pointing towards the Deep Sea Demon Whale King. Tang San's gaze was cold as ice, without a trace of wavering because of the opponent's strength. The Deep Sea Demon Whale King couldn't help being a bit disappointed with Tang San's current appearance, but its hatred for Tang San had already reached a peak. Even though it took human form, it still felt the internal pain. The draining ability of the 8 spider lances as well as the toxin was a bit better off. The crucial part was that the 2 kinds of water from the ice and fire yin yang well was making his body feel alternately hot and cold, extremely unpleasant. Even though part of the 2 kinds of energies was already neutralized, getting rid of them entirely wasn't something that could be done in short order. These wounds would take a lot of time to recover from. One man and one whale confronted each other in the air, their gazes unyielding. Even though the Deep Sea Demon Whale King's energy was higher than Tang San, it held no advantage in imposing manner. Tang San's mental strength was particularly higher than it. The Deep Sea Demon Whale King's soul deep purple eye met Tang San's blue eyes. His presence was actually slowly being suppressed by Tang San's expression. The imposing manner that should have leveled up after taking human form actually gradually decreased. On the battlefield, morale could frequently become the decisive factor. The lower the morale, the less of one's ability could be displayed. Anyone knew this, and therefore the Deep Sea Demon Whale King decided to stop waiting. No matter how high the mental strength, the gap in energy was unshakable. Drop dead. The Deep Sea Demon Whale King gave a low roar, suddenly raising its right hand, purple balls of light appearing around it. In an instant they covered every part of a several hundred square meter range. Each ball of light targeted Tang San. The enormous energy waves immediately turned a portion of the sky around the Deep Sea Demon Whale King purple, and also faintly warped. Ear-piercing sounds resounded, produced by the compacting. In just the span of one breath, the more than 10,000 purple balls of light shot towards Tang San like a meteor shower. Their speed could only be described as flashes of lightning. 3 parts water, 7 parts thunder. This was Tang San's estimate of the Deep Sea Demon Whale King's attack. Each of those purple balls was condensed from 2 kinds of energy. It could be described as a complex type of attribute attack. Without a doubt, they were just like pearls of thunder. If they collided with anything, they would explode with terrifying power. This kind of large-scale targeted attack was impossible to dodge. Tang San also didn't have any thoughts of dodging to begin with, holding the hammer in his left hand behind him with a cold snort, raising the Sea God Trident in his right. A plain and undecorated unfixed storm was already issuing. After surviving Chen Rinchu's pursuit and seeing the Sea God using unfixed storm a second time, Tang San's understanding of this divine skill had already risen to an unprecedented level. Although his Sea God Trident was no longer a divine weapon in the true sense, that still didn't stop him from using this attack. Even without using the Sea God Trident's divine power, this was still a divine skill. An enormous ring of light brightened in the air. Its color was deep red, no longer the blue silver emperor energy from before, but rather came from the clear sky hammer. Ice cold killing intent also filled the atmosphere this instant. On the clear sky hammer behind Tang San's back, the Death God domain was released. Died by the Death God domain, the rings of light produced by the Sea God Trident instantly turned blood red. Tang San's actions didn't stop here. The trident in his hand spun to the left, spun to the right, constantly producing blood red rings of light in the air. Strangely, these ring of light seemed to have an enormous attraction power. Even though the thunder pearls of the Deep Sea Demon Whale King's attack were very large, as long as these rings of light appeared, they would immediately draw over the pearls. The Deep Sea Demon Whale King's expression changed slightly. His original thinking was to rely on his superior energy as well as thunder attribute attack to blast Tang San to death. However, after he discovered the thunder pearls were trapped by the unfixed storm rings, their mental connection to him was actually immediately severed. Those thunder pearls basically couldn't explode either, quietly disappearing inside the unfixed storm's bloody rings of light. How was this possible? The Deep Sea Demon Whale King was shocked. He of course clearly knew how enormous the energy he released was. It seemed to him that even if Tang San's mental strength was somewhat stronger than his, it would basically be impossible to sever his connection to such a large-scale attack ability. The only thing he hadn't expected was that Tang San was now using the Sea God's divine ability. The Deep Sea Demon Whale King's mind was delayed a beat by the shock, and in this brief instant, the attack he issued had already completely missed, not even one thunder pearl exploding. Tang San's already this strong. Xiaobai was astonished. At the same time as she spoke, Ning Rongrong on her back once again raised the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda in her hand. Another 7 lines of light shooting out, shining on Tang San. Ning Rongrong now had 8 rings. The reason she issued 7 lines of light were because when she released her spirit abilities, her 7th spirit ability, 9 treasure avatar was also used, falling on Tang San. This was also why the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda spirit masters were powerful. This 7th of spirit ability could be used on herself, but also on comrades. The first 6 spirit abilities could all boost Tang San by 90%, but this 7th line of link would give let Tang San enjoy the marvels of the 9 treasure avatar, to only consume half of his spirit power when using spirit abilities. Like this, Tang San's battle endurance would naturally rise substantially. Previously Tang San had risked injuries to getting close to the Deep Sea Demon Whale King's enormous body, but his injuries were already healed by the crystal caterpillar sausage. Adding the energy he drained from the Deep Sea Demon Whale King, right now he was in an unprecedentedly ideal state. The instant Ning Rongrong's 7 boosts hit him, Tang San's energies condensed to an extremely terrifying degree. With a loud shout, like a thunderclap, he shot towards the Deep Sea Demon Whale King like an arrow. The Deep Sea Demon Whale King would hardly let him go unopposed. His whole body radiated purple light, violently going to meet Tang San, both hands forming fists, pounding his chest. A ring of purple light spread from his chest, just like that sparkling whirlpool-shaped gem. Wherever the purple light passed, the air instantly froze. This was an evolved ability of the Deep Sea Demon Whale King's Demon Whale domain. Its effect was similar to the blue-silver Auger Devil's assimilation. If you were within range, you would immediately sink into a brief stun state, and in confrontations at this level, even brief delays would have fatal effects. However, just as the purple light was about to touch Tang San's second spirit ring instantly burst, exploding with intensely deep golden energy waves, forcibly scattering that purple energy. and at the same moment, the clear sky hammer Tang San held rose against the wind, and he spun once in midair, smashing that incomparably enormous clear sky hammer straight at the deep-sea demon whale king's head. This was the great Samuro hammer, ring detonation, relying on the power of ring detonation to instantly defuse the enemy's restraint ability, then condensing an explosive attack. At this moment Tang San could absolutely be described as perfect. The deep-sea demon whale king also hadn't expected the seemingly calm and collected Tang San to suddenly produce such a berserk dangerous attack. Facing that clear sky hammer sparkling with deep golden magic patterns, he didn't dare be careless either, both hands blocking, his whole armor shone, fully mobilizing the energy contained in the armor to meet Tang San's attack. Facts proved that the power of ring detonation absolutely was powerful. With Ning Rongrong's support, Tang San's abilities were all doubled, his rank 96 spirit power subsequently rising to rank 97. But even more than this, his strength, attack power, speed, attack attributes were all boosted. His own strength was already close to rank 98 peak Douluo, and using the great Samuro hammer's profound ring detonation, the energy he exploded with now instantly reached the strongest intensity of rank 99 exceptional Douluo. What's more, the clear sky hammer he held was also affected by gravity control, and even if it couldn't compare to the sea god trident's weight under gravity control, it still wasn't far away. Boom! Under the gazes of Xiaobai and her devil spirit great white Sharkian, as well as the Shrek six devils, that million-year spirit beast the seemingly insufferably arrogant deep-sea demon whale king was actually smashed down by Tang San's hammer swing, slammed into the surface of the sea with a splash. It caused 100-meter tall giant waves. Tang San's attack went smoothly, and he absolutely didn't pause. With Ning Rongrong's continued assistance, the expression in his eyes turned incomparably severe. Body and hammer as one, the great Samuro hammer's might instantly exploded fully. The first spirit ring detonated, and the Titan giant ape spirit ring gave him even more enormous energy. At the same moment his left leg whipped out, a battle-axe-shaped red light falling from the sky, forcibly blasting open the sea spray, even cutting out a 100-meter deep trench in the surface of the sea, exposing the figure of the deep-sea demon whale king, who was just catching his balance. Tang San's second swing was already falling from the sky, bringing along an unprecedented aggressiveness, bringing along terrifying explosive power, smashing straight down. Since the attack had already started, Tang San didn't plan to stop. He wouldn't give up until the enemy was annihilated. The deep-sea demon whale king also turned pale with fright. When Tang San used sea god's light before, he was still inwardly reassured that Tang San clearly still couldn't have accepted the sea god's true power. He was confident that, against this opponent, he still wouldn't lose no matter what. However, the instant he clashed with the clear sky hammer, actually getting smashed into the enemy regardless of his strength and enormous energy, that berserk violent energy, that dominating aggressiveness, as well as that severe tangible killing intent, all told him that this enemy wasn't that easy to deal with. It was even very possible he would face a deadly crisis. The deep-sea demon whale king had lived in the sea for a million years, and there was naturally no need to doubt his experience. Seeing that the sea could no longer become his shelter, and also sensing the even more severe might and even more berserk energy of Tang San's great hammer, he took a strange action, both hands forming horn shapes by his ears, aimed at Tang San falling from above. He suddenly opened his mouth wide, issuing a resonant howl. At the same time a line of white energy like a bolt of unfurling silk appeared. Careful Tang San, that's the deep-sea demon whale king's core energy. Xiaobai saw that white energy, and hurriedly warned. Tang San definitely heard her voice, but his actions still didn't change in the slightest. The concept of the great Samuro hammer basically didn't contain the word dodge. Being fully aware that there was no recourse, only then could one's strength be fully aroused. Therefore, Tang San still bracingly met it. The deep-sea demon whale king's voice was still a bit rough at the start, but very soon the howl gradually turned into something like a dragon cry as that white energy sprayed out. The dark clouds in the sky churned frantically, as if echoing his howl, and that white core energy also condensed into a cloud in midair, just meeting Tang San's clear sky hammer. Boom! The white energy scattered, and even the dark clouds in the air swirled from the shock of his attack, exposing the light of the sun. The core energy of the deep-sea demon whale king was forcibly dispersed by Tang San, and the deep-sea demon whale king also swayed heavily, a trace of blood flashing past the corners of his eye, clearly influenced. But Tang San was no better off either. His attack couldn't continue. The white core energy was admittedly dispersed, but he was also flung into the air by the rebound force. The clear sky hammer produced a series of ringing sounds, the energy from detonating the first spirit ring nearly exhausted. Tang San didn't have just one plan to deal with the deep-sea demon whale king. The idea was of course to drain him to death with the 8 spider lancers. That way not only could he kill the deep-sea demon whale king, Tang San could also be certain that his spirit power could break through. But if the deep-sea demon whale king took human shape, Tang San would act faster and stronger than thunder, relying on the great Samuro hammer's profoundness and use 9 successive attacks to thoroughly destroy him before the deep-sea demon whale king had a grasp on his strength. And by these circumstances, Tang San's second plan was clearly ruined. Of course, he wasn't without rewards. The deep-sea demon whale king was already injured. A furious roar echoed from the deep-sea demon whale king. He pushed violently against the seawater, shooting up towards Tang San like an artillery shell. While still in midair, enormous purple light condensed a giant purple sphere of light around him, and at the same moment, behind him, a vast deep-sea demon whale illusion appeared. He was already moved to true anger. This attack was no probe. The purple sphere of light the deep-sea demon whale king produced instantly separated from him, splitting into 2 giant purple war hammers, neither smaller than Tang San's clear sky hammer. All his energy was completely reserved, just then flying towards Tang San. It actually seemed like he would bet on a brawl. Absolutely don't underestimate this brawl. Close range attacks with completely reserved energy was the way to completely display the greatest degree of a power's own attack power. If there were 2 people close in strength, and one side chose this kind of dangerous attack method, the other side would have no other choice. Because if you used energy attacks, the opponent's reserved energy would easily be cut open. It was very difficult to harm the opponent. Tang San of course understood this too. Want a close quarters fight with me? Fine, then I'll cooperate. Eating another erect goldfly, Tang San hardly dodged the deep-sea demon whale king, hammer in his left hand, trident in his right. The moment the two were about to collide, Tang San blurred like an illusion. The deep-sea demon whale king only saw a flash before his eyes, and Tang San had already arrived before him. The sea god trident pointing forward, the ice-cold dark polearm already at his waist. However, the deep-sea demon whale king's choice also alarmed Tang San. He actually neither dodged or avoided, allowing Tang San's sea god trident to stab his waist, while both arms swung the purple 8-cornered plum blossom hammers, smashing down towards the top of Tang San's head. If he really was hit like this, even Tang San's soul might be crushed. The deep-sea demon whale king's hammers contained his powerful energy. Tang San was intelligent and instantly understood what the deep-sea demon whale king was thinking. This fellow wanted to trade an injury for death. He had that condensed energy armor for protection, and this stab definitely wouldn't kill him. But if smashed by those 2 hammers, Tang San would be done for. It was actually well calculated. Tang San of course wouldn't agree to such a trade. Helplessly, he burst back in midair, using Ghost Shadow perplexing step to flash out of the deep-sea demon whale king's attack. The deep-sea demon whale king was persistent and instantly followed up, both hammers dancing in the air. Using the previous attack, he immediately suppressed Tang San. His 8-cornered plum blossom hammers might not have any technique, but they went out in power, also incomparably fast. Backed by his enormous energy, he actually forced Tang San to repeat step by step. There was nothing Tang San could do either. The deep-sea demon whale king was too cunning. He fully exploited the advantage of his armor, basically not dodging Tang San's attacks, attacking blindly. Thus, all of Tang San's energy was inferior to his to begin with, and was now immediately completely at a disadvantage. He could only constantly dodge by retreating, just like he just used the great Samuro hammer to suppress the deep-sea demon whale king. Now it was instead he who was in danger. In fact, the longer he was suppressed, the stronger the enemy's imposing mana and stored chain attack power, and the more difficult it would be to retaliate. Facing an opponent of the deep-sea demon whale king's level, wanting to wait for a mistake to appear was undoubtedly lunatic ravings. Ma Hongzhen watched the scene from nearby, but he also knew his strength was too far behind the two now fighting, and it would be useless even if he charged in. Even at such a disadvantage, Tang San's expression was still extremely calm. He only constantly dodged backwards, no matter how fast the deep-sea demon whale king was. It wasn't that easy to hit Tang San with Ning Rongrong's speed boost and using the Ghost Shadow perplexing step technique. The corners of the deep-sea demon whale king already revealed a malevolent smile. He could admittedly not do anything about Tang San's dodging, but each swing of his hammers weren't that simple. Intangible energy was weaving a great net, and as long as he swung a few more times, perfecting this great net, it wouldn't be so easy for Tang San to keep dodging. However, just as the deep-sea demon whale king thought he would succeed and annihilate Tang San with his own hands suddenly, Tang San disappeared without any warning. The deep-sea demon whale king stared blankly. Disappeared? How was it possible? His mental strength instantly spread out. Due to the distance being so close, he focused his mental strength into a narrow area, and almost instantly found Tang San. However, he had no choice but to delay his attacks for a moment. The deep-sea demon whale king's great net was nearly perfected, but how could Tang San not know about it? His mental strength was always carefully investigating any change in his surroundings. With the exquisiteness of his ghost shadow perplexing step, he could have escaped the deep-sea demon whale king's attack range from the very start. The reason he didn't do so was to let the deep-sea demon whale king substantially exhaust his energy, using the vast sea barrier to hide for an instant. When Tang San didn't launch any attacks, the deep-sea demon whale king naturally didn't see him. If he gained some distance, then the deep-sea demon whale king couldn't possibly find a trace of Tang San even with his mental strength. To Tang San, an instant was an eternity. The battle situation also changed in this instant. Withdrawing the clear sky hammer, withdrawing the 8 spider lances, Tang San was like a shooting star, falling from the sky with the sea god trident, escaping through the last crack in the deep-sea demon whale king's net. And at the same moment the blue silver emperor released, one long blue silver emperor strand after another flying down at an angle like bolts of lightning. And already warned by Tang San, Ma Hongzhen was already waiting there. The split second the deep-sea demon whale king's pursuing attack arrived, Tang San had already pulled on the blue silver emperor, like opposing gravity, instantly accelerating. He arrived next to Ma Hongzhen in the blink of an eye. Whoever it was, seeing such a hard-earned opportunity disappear like this definitely wasn't pleasant. The deep-sea demon whale king was no exception. He clearly felt that he was stronger than Tang San, but he had no way to catch him. This kind of feeling was definitely bitter. A baleful look flashed through the deep-sea demon whale king's eyes. In midair, he spun violently, throwing out the purple 8-cornered plum blossom hammer in his left hand, chasing straight for Tang San. And at the same time, the hammer in his right hand also flew out, but not aimed at Tang San, but rather at Ning Rongrong on Xiaobai's back. He'd already seen that Ning Rongrong was an important part of Tang San's ability to persist in fighting him. If he could kill Ning Rongrong first, killing Tang San would definitely be a lot easier. How could he be unaware that the devil spirit great white sharks and the Shrek 6 devils had also entered his sea domain? Now he just found a chance to angrily launch a strict attack. Facing the great hammer the deep-sea demon whale king threw out, Tang San gripped the sea god trident in both hands, spinning and raising. It was still that unfixed storm, that large purple hammer spinning in the air also at the same time lost its connection with the deep-sea demon whale king. This was one of the best parts of Unfixed Storm. I cut your ability to control, so how much attack power can your ability produce? Calmly, Tang San didn't do just this. At Tang San's indication, Ma Hongzhen simultaneously pushed both hands on his back, violent phoenix flame instantly infusing into the 8 spider lances. Under Tang San's control, the 8 spider lances didn't change this energy, but rather condensed it inside the lances as fast as possible. With its god-level capability, it had the strength to seal this portion of phoenix flame, and when he produced his phoenix flame, Ma Hongzhen's last spirit ring shone, his 8th spirit ring. After quickly producing it, Ma Hongzhen's complexion turned a bit pale. He ate 2 sausages, then changed back into the 7-headed fire phoenix form and flew far away. His mission was already complete. It wasn't possible for Tang San's 8 spider lances to stockpile such berserk phoenix flame for long. When he had Ma Hongzhen pour phoenix flames into him, it was already decided that it was time to launch the main attack. And because the deep-sea demon whale king attacked in 2 different directions at once, his movements would inevitably be delayed. That's why he basically couldn't stop Ma Hongzhen from passing the phoenix flame energy to Tang San. Even more shocking to him was that Ning Rongrong, whom he originally thought would be extinguished by the hammer, didn't suffer a bit of influence from his attack. Dai Mubai and Zhu Zuking had been waiting for this attack for a very long time. Tang San had long since guessed the deep-sea demon whale king might attack them, and because Tang San was fighting, it would definitely be impossible for the deep-sea demon whale king to use too complex an attack, like charging up a large-scale area attack. Thus, having Dai Mubai and Zhu Zuking for protection was already enough. The giant hell white tiger unfurled its wings and appeared in the air, tackling that purple hammer. The enormous energy waves smashed the hell white tiger into the sea, but the deep-sea demon whale king's attack was also destined to be fruitless. The spirit fusion ability used by 2 spirit Douluo level powers instantly released considerably energy. Furthermore, in order to guarantee they could block this attack, they had each eaten an erect goldfly, raising the hell white tiger's attack to no less than peak Douluo level. How could the distracted deep-sea demon whale king succeed? Your opponent is me. Tang San's ice-cold voice reached the deep-sea demon whale king's ears, launching powerful attacks in succession. Even the power of the deep-sea demon whale king's level couldn't keep up with the energy expenditure, and had no choice but to pause for breath. And at this moment, Tang San returned. In his left hand the clear sky hammer appeared once again, and making the deep-sea demon whale king's pupils contract was at this time. Tang San's remaining 6 spirit rings all exploded together. Incredibly enormous deep golden light completely condensed in that clear sky hammer, and behind Tang San vaguely appeared a deep red silhouette. This silhouette was a bit different from the sea god Tang San had released. The sea god was tall and portly, and this figure was a bit slimmer, but still even taller. Ice-cold killing intent condensed until nearly tangible. This manifestation was the variant shape that appeared when Tang San poured an astronomical amount of energy into the death god domain. The energy from detonating 6 spirit rings really was too much. It filled every corner of the clear sky hammer, and naturally also flooded the death god domain. The shape of this manifestation was for the light contained in the death god domain, using the great Samara hammer to simultaneously detonate 6 clear sky hammer spirit rings, including 300,000-year spirit rings. This was something Tang San hadn't even done when facing Chen Renchu. This clearly showed what level this attack would reach, and his current determination, leaving himself no escape routes, also alarmed the deep-sea demon whale king, especially that deep red silhouette that appeared behind Tang San, despite being extremely faint, still made the deep-sea demon whale king tremble from his heart. Handing back the sea god trident for the 8 spider lances to hold, Tang San changed to holding the hammer two-handed. The energy from 6 spirit rings exploding within the clear sky hammer really was too frightening. The deep-sea demon whale king didn't dare advance. He even slowly retreated. He already had thoughts of escaping. This young-looking human in front of him was too crazy. Such terrifying energy. Wasn't he worried he couldn't control it and exploded? Not only the deep-sea demon whale king was shocked, Tang San's friends also watched the scene with stunned eyes. After simultaneously detonating the remaining 6 clear sky hammer spirit rings, the deep red silhouette setting him off from behind. Right now Tang San was like a descended demon god. Even his hair and eyes had turned deep red. The sky was covered in dark clouds once again. Only this time the clouds didn't stem from the deep-sea demon whale king's energy, because they were all the color of blood. Equally turned red was the surface of the sea below. The energy Tang San condensed this moment had transformed the surroundings. This was something only god levels could accomplish. If not for the god level 8 spider lances, the great Samara hammer spore technique as well as his demigod level constitution and the crystal caterpillar sausage's support, Tang San would never dare try this. Even were Chen Renchu here, her expression would turn very ugly on seeing Tang San's all-out attack. Ning Rongrong's expression also changed, because she suddenly discovered that her 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda no longer had any amplifying effect on Tang San. All the boosts were abounded, and the light issued from the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda basically couldn't enter that blood-colored area. In all her cultivation so far, this was the first time she experienced this. Only one possibility could explain these circumstances, and that was that god level powers couldn't be boosted by human support type spirit masters. Right now, Tang San had absolutely reached the god level. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.